Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Om Akhandananda Sambodha Bandhanat Yasya Jayate Govindam Tamaham Bande Chidananda Tanum Gurum. So he said yesterday, Sukham Vishaya Sampraktam Visha Samprakta Bhaktavat bhogakāle api bhogante duḥkhaṃ eva prayachati. Like the food mixed with the poison, similarly the object associated with happiness is like a food associated with poisonous. What is the connection? During the time of experience and after the experience, it leaves a bad taste. It only leaves pain. How? I'll explain that. So he says, sukhamuccāvacatvena kṣayiṣṇutvabhayena bhogakāle bhavennḍāṃ brahmādipadabhājinām. We saw it earlier, and during the yesterday's explanation also I said it. Now he is explicitly saying it through the shloka. He says, sukhamuccāvacatvena kṣayiṣṇutvabhayena bhogakāle bhavennḍāṃ brahmādipadabhājinām. So why is the sorrow, why is the happiness accepted as sorrow during and after the experience? So he says, uccāvacatvena, ucca avacha. Ucca means high, avacha means low, meaning a gradation. Uccāvaca means a gradation. Since there is a greater and a lesser, superior and inferior, there is a gradation of happiness. Yesterday, during the explanation, I told you about the Taitya Upanishad, ānandaḥ, where there are 11 different states of happiness experienced is said. First happiness is of the sarvabhauma. He saw it here, sarvabhauma. There he says about the one who is ruling the world, the Chakravarti, the emperor. Now, below the emperor, there are other people also. A simple person enjoys a simple happiness. There is also happiness also there. And after the Brahmānanda, there is another absolute bliss also. We are not including that. We are only talking about the different stages of experience of bliss. So there is a gradation, uccāvacatvena. Not just that. kṣayiṣṇutvabhayena, there is a fear of losing it. Fear of losing it. That is there for every happiness. Every happiness. Even for the Brahmaji, even for the Indrasya, even for Indra, or even for the Ajana Devanāṃ ānandaḥ, or Karma Devanāṃ ānandaḥ. All these different people. Karma Deva, a person who has gained the deityhood through karma. Ajana Deva, one who is born as the deity. Pitru, one who is a main ancestor. So, any level you say, all these levels, there is always a possibility of, not possibility, there is always association of a sorrow. Why? Because they can lose that post. All these are different posts. Kṣine puṇye martya lokam vishanti. We clearly say, once he loses the punya, he'll come to this world. So, karma deva, he goes performing the karmas, he gains punya, he goes to that world, he enjoys the happiness there. Once his karmas are extinguished, he comes back. Ajana deva, the deity who is born as a deity during the creation, the beginning of the creation. At the end of the creation, he is going to lose that. So there is gradation. Oh, he is experiencing more happiness than me. There is always that. And that kind of envy, jealousy is also a cause for pain. During the experience of, we can't enjoy our own happiness. We are comparing it with somebody's happiness. So he says, brahmādipadabhājinām, all these people who are enjoying the different states of Brahma, etc. Pada, state, position. Bhaji, one who experiences. One who experiences these different positions. For all these people, nrunāṃ. For all these people, nrunāṃ, people. meaning all these jivas, all these beings. Sukham bhogakāle bhavet. Bhogakāle duḥkhaṃ bhavet. This happiness which they experience, they are sorrow, because there are two different, there are two errors there, defects there. What is that? One is there is gradation. Two is it is going to end. Fear of it coming to an end. Okay. Okay. Why is that okay? Okay. Why you want to say okay, right? Yes. Why don't you say that? There is a problem. What is the problem? I don't know Brahmaji. I don't know Indra. I don't know Karma Deva. I don't know Ajana Jana Deva. I don't know Pitru. I don't know the emperor. Talk about my experience, something which I can relate to. I know the emperor, his experience. Okay, he enjoys maybe more. I know that. But the other people, I have no idea about it. The gradation you are talking about, I have no idea about it. Related to me. Okay. rājasthānapraviṣṭānāṃ tāratamyaṃ mataṃ yathā tathaiva duḥkhaṃ jantūnāṃ brahmādipadabhājinām. rājasthānapraviṣṭānāṃ tāratamyaṃ mataṃ yathā tathaiva duḥkhaṃ jantūnāṃ brahmādipadabhājinām. See, earlier in the previous shloka I said brahmādipadabhājinām nrināṃ. Here is yes brahmādipadabhājinām jantūnāṃ. He is making it clear. There I said people. People means beings. That's all. So yathā. How can I relate to that experience? You can relate to that experience. How? Yathā rājasthānapraviṣṭānāṃ. Rajasthan is a state in India. We are not talking about that. Raja means king. Sthana means position. One who has taken some position or other in the king's, in the emperor's kingdom. Praviṣṭānāṃ, if he has entered, if he has taken some or other position. Tāratamyaṃ mataṃ, there is always a gradation. An emperor, under the emperor there are many big kings. Under them there are many small kings. Under those small kings there are heads of small areas. Everyone is kind of king. They are all under the emperor. And always this one who is a king of a particular city or a village will always buy. If he is a king of village, he will want to become a king of a city. If he is a king of a city, he wants to become a king of a state. If he is a king of a state, he wants to become a king of a country. Different levels, a group of states. Different levels. They always desire to gain more happiness without enjoying that happiness. So, tāratamyaṃ, the gradation is very clearly accepted. We know that. Tathaiva. Similarly, brahmādipadabhājinām jantūnāṃ duḥkhaṃ. Similarly is the sorrow for those people. Here you understand the sorrow very clearly. You see the sorrow. Similarly, they also have the sorrow. There is no difference in that. Okay, now I understand. Yeah, I understand. But what should I do? That's a good question. Na kāṅkṣaṇīyaṃ viduṣā tasmādvaiṣayikaṃ sukham. Na kāṅkṣaṇīyaṃ viduṣā tasmādvaiṣayikaṃ sukham. Tasmād, therefore, viduṣā, by a smart person, by an intelligent person. Vaishayikaṃ sukham na kāṅkṣaṇīyaṃ. Vaishayikaṃ sukham, that which is born of viṣaya is vaishayika. That which is born of viṣaya. What? The happiness. The happiness, that which is born of viṣaya, of an object, na kāṅkṣaṇīyaṃ, should not depend upon, should not expect, should not desire. So, therefore, you should not desire an experience of happiness through the object. That is what an intelligent person should do. Are you intelligent? You decide yourself. So, that is what intelligent persons do. Okay, now, should I not run behind the happiness of the world? There is happiness, isn't it? Then if I don't, then what is that happiness I am experiencing? So he says, you have to run behind happiness. There is no doubt about it. But what is that happiness? You have to understand. Yo bimbabhūta ānandaḥ sa ātmānandalakṣaṇaḥ śāśvato nirdvayo pūrṇah nitya eko'pi nirbhayaḥ lakṣyate pratibimbenābhāsānandena bhāsānandena bimbavat yo bimbabhūta ānandaḥ sa ātmānandalakṣaṇaḥ śāśvatah nirdvayaḥ pūrṇah nitya ekah api nirbhayaḥ lakṣyate pratibimbenābhāsānandena bimbavat. See, this is a beautiful thing. You say, I am experiencing the happiness when my mind is satisfied, there is no thought function, the bliss of the self gets reflected. Yes, you understood, right? Finally, I am experiencing the bliss of the self. Whether I am experiencing using the object as the means or not, what's the difference? I told you the difference. There are two problems. One, gradation. Two, the fear of losing. Is it not enough? Okay, but what's that but? The happiness you are talking about, does it not have these two defects? That's a question. We have to answer that question. Yo bimbabhūta, yaha bimbabhūta ānandaḥ. That bliss which is of the reflected. There are two states. One is reflection, pratibimba. The other is reflected, bimba, the original, and the reflection. We know this. So there is a mirror. You stand in front of the mirror, your face is reflected on the mirror. Your face is reflected on the mirror. You move out from that and somebody stands, his face is reflected on the mirror. Right? So the face is reflected and the image there you see in the mirror is reflection. Right? So that original, that reflected, he talks about ātmānandalakṣaṇaḥ. That is of the nature of bliss. ātmānanda, bliss of the self. That is bliss of the self. That is bliss. Okay. Again, two defects. We'll come to that. śāśvato, it is eternal. So there is no fear of losing it. Good. Other defect, gradation. nirdvayaḥ, there is no, it is non-dual. Nirdvayaḥ, without any duality. Only when there is duality, there is gradation. Since there is no duality, there is no gradation. Okay. So there are two defects, that those two defects are removed. But still, wait. Nirdvayaḥ, you said, without duality. How can it be without duality? How can that bliss be without duality? That reflected be without duality? pūrṇah, it is absolute. How many absolutes are there? Okay, absolute, fine. The what kind of absolute are you talking about? Temporary absolute, permanent absolute? Is there some difference like that? No. So if you have some doubt like that, he says nitya. It is eternal. That which is not negated in all three periods of time. Good. How many eternals are there? Some people accept that Shiva, this Vishnu, they are all eternal. They are all absolute. How many eternals are there like that? Ekah, there is only one. There is no two absolutes and two eternals. There is only one absolute and one eternal. Okay, good. Ekaki naramate. A single person, one who is alone, will not enjoy. That's the Shruti statement. If you use that statement, because it is one, there is no enjoyment. If you say, then we'll counter it with a dvitiya dvai bhayam bhavati, another Shruti statement. If there is two, there is fear. Is there fear here? No. Nirbhayaḥ, it is fearless. There is no fear in it. There is no fear associated with it. Like I was looking at the lizards yesterday. there was one big lizard and there is one small lizard here. Okay. The big lizard is probably mother and the small lizard is baby. Just such a baby, the insect dances in front of its nose and it's not able to catch it, eat it. Anyway, it learnt its trade a little later, but it couldn't even do that. Now, looking at it, I was wondering. See, I'm not going to have this light on. I'm going to switch it off. I'm going to go to my room. This fellow is going to be left alone because the mother is somewhere. Now, with respect to a human being, whether he is a kid or a elderly man, does not really matter. If he is alone, there is fear. This small lizard, baby lizard, does not have that fear. It is roaming alone happily. It was going here and there. Okay. And if I am going to switch off the light, I do switch off the light. It's going to be dark. It's not afraid still. It is happily there in the darkness. The problem with human beings is not the real duality. It is the psychological duality. We are having the idea of darkness, ghost, gone. So here, nirbhayaḥ, there is no fear. Okay, since it is one, there is no fear. That is also its nature. Now, bimbavat. This is the nature of the bimba, the reflector. Similarly, pratibimbenābhāsānandena lakṣyate. The reflection also, which is the bliss of the self, is experienced. That is how it is seen. Okay. Now, like the original is absolute bliss. The reflection also is reflection also is absolute bliss. But I don't experience the absolute bliss. Yes, you don't experience that. Why do I not experience the absolute bliss? If it is absolute bliss, we said very clearly, there is this reflecting media, your mind. The kind of punya you have, according to the punya, the purity is there in the mind, and that purity is the medium for reflection of the bliss. Like there is moon, we saw Sudha, Karaha, moon, and Payasi in water. We saw this example. So let us take different levels of this reflection, reflecting media. There is moon, there is a mirror, there is water, there is a polished surface, polished stone or polished metal, and there is wall. Now, when the moon falls on the wall, of course it is getting reflected. How do you know it is getting reflected? I don't see it. You see the light, right? There is light. There is no clarity in the reflection, but there is light. You know there is moon seeing the light. Okay. Now, when it comes to that polished surface, the reflection, the moon also is seen, but not clearly. In water, it is seen clearly, and you know there is moon. But in the mirror, there is no different absolutely. The kind of reflecting medium helps you to experience that reflection in a beautiful way. That this in a beautiful way. Okay. So, how do you know this bimba and pratibimba? So he says, pratibimbo bimbamūlo vinā bimbam na siddhyati yathā bimba ānandaḥ pratibimbenābhāsānandena lakṣyate yukteva pandita janaihi nadaka anubhuyate. Very important point here. Pratibimbaḥ bimbamūlo vinā bimbam na siddhyati yathā bimba ānandaḥ pratibimbenābhāsānandena lakṣyate yukteva pandita janaihi kadapi anubhuyate. Yad bimbamūlo, that which is based on the reflected, the original, the self, bliss of the self. Pratibimbaḥ, which is the reflection. The reflection which is dependent upon the original. Reflection is dependent upon the original. How do you know this? Because without the original, there is no reflection. So he says, bimbam vinā na siddhyati. Without the original, there can be no reflection. So since there is reflection, we understand there is the original reflected. Tataha, therefore, pandita janaihi, the learned ones, yuktya eva, only through logic, pratibimbenābhāsānandena bimbah ānandaḥ lakṣyate. They show you only through logic the reflection based on the reflected, the original nature of the reflected. The learned ones, they show you, they point out to the reflected based on the reflection. What else can be done? That is what this is book. Like that, they don't show you, show that bliss as the object. That is why he says, kadapi nanubhuyate. They don't make you, or that is not experienced. We already said that the bliss is not experienced. Dojo example. The bliss is not experienced because who is there to experience it? The first question, there should be an ant, there should be a jaggery and all that. That is not possible. How do you know then it is bliss? If you cannot experience, how do you know it is bliss? So, avidya karya karana sanghateshu puroditaha atma jagaratyapi swapne na bhavatyesha gocharaha. Because you said state of waking and dream is a sorrow. Yes, I do state even now. So he says, avidya karya karana sanghateshu puroditaha atma jagaratyapi swapne na bhavati esha gocharaha. Pura udita, that which was said earlier. What? Yesha Atma, about this Atma. The self which was explained earlier, which was established earlier as Satyam Jnanam Anantam, that self, avidya karya karana sanghateshu, sanghata group of water. Avidya karya karana. Avidya, ignorance, its effect body, its effect karana, sense organs, instrument, sense organs. In avidya, ignorance, body, sense organ complex, jagrati api, swapne api, na gocharo bhavati, is not experienced in the waking and dream state. We said it is not experienced in waking and dream state. It cannot be experienced in waking and dream state because waking and dream state object body is embodiment is a sorrow. We established that. He's coming to that again. It is not established, experienced in the waking and dream state. Okay, you said it is sorrow. Then how do you know it is bliss? Sthulasya pischa sukṣmasya duḥkharupasya varshmanaha layam sushuptau sphurati pratyak ānandalakṣaṇaḥ. Sthulasya pischa sukṣmasya duḥkharupasya varshmanaha layam sushuptau sphurati pratyak ānandalakṣaṇaḥ. Duḥkharupasya, of the nature of sorrow, misery, pain. What is that? Sthulasya sukṣmasyapi varshmanaha. Sthulasya varshmanaha, sukṣmasyapi varshmanaha. Varshmanaha, body. Gross body. Sthulasya, of the gross body and of the subtle body too, which is of the nature of pain. Laye. When they go to merge. When they merge where? In the cause. The waking state, the body sense organ complex merges in its cause, which is the mind, which projects the body sense organ complex. So that when that mind merges, you have mind in dream state. That is why there is a dream object. When that mind also merges in its ignorance, avidya karya karana. Okay. So when that also merges in its cause, ignorance, then sushuptau, in the deep sleep. It merges in the deep sleep. That mind also merges in the deep sleep in ignorance. ānandalakṣaṇaḥ pratyaks prati, the bliss of the self is experienced. You said it cannot be experienced, and you say it can be experienced. Can it be experienced or not? It cannot be experienced as an object. It can be experienced as its inherent nature. If there is no experience, then stone. Stone is inert. Why are you bringing the stone? I'll come to that later. Okay. Nahi atra vishaya kaschit na buddhyadi kinchana ātmaiva kevala ānanda matra tishtati nirdvayaḥ. In that deep sleep state, what happens? Nahi atra vishaya kaschit na api buddhyadi kinchana ātmaiva kevala ānanda matra tishtati nirdvayaḥ. Atra, in this deep sleep, kaschit vishaya nahi, definitely there is no object. There is no object in this deep sleep. We don't see any experience of objects. Even in dream state, we see some objects, dream objects, but in deep sleep, nothing. So there is no object. A. Buddhyadi kinchana na. There is no buddhi, etc., intellect, etc. Waking state also many people don't have, but here we are talking about this special state, the antakarana, the mind. Buddhi, etc. means mind, etc. does not exist. So there is no thought function also. So there is no body, there is no mind. Body means objects. There is no object, there is no mind. And nirdvayaḥ, there is non-duality. Non-dual, ātmā eva, only that this self. Only that self exists. In the form of kevala ānanda matra, in the form of absolute bliss. Tishtati, it exists. Only the bliss of the self exists in its pristine form. The only difference is you don't experience it as I, because there is no ignorance removed. The ignorance exists still. So therefore, the ignorance is not removed. Therefore, you don't experience it as I. But since through the ignorance you are seeing, you are experiencing. That is where the experience comes. Through ignorance, you are experiencing the bliss. Experiencing the bliss in the deep sleep? Yes. Really? Pratibimbenābhāsānandena sarvaihi eva sukham sukhamuccāvacatvena natra samshayam kartum arhasi. Don't doubt about this. Why? Pratibimbenābhāsānandena sarvaihi yesha sukham sukhamuccāvacatvena natra samshayam kartum arhasi. Suktotitaihi sarvaihi janaihi. All the people, sarvaihi janaihi, all the people who are up from the dream, deep sleep. Suktotitaihi, one who has woken up from the sleep. All the people, one who have woken up from the sleep. Yesha sukhamuccāvacatvena pratibimbenābhāsānandena. They experience this self, because there is nothing other than self there. They experience the self as of the nature of bliss. Atah, therefore, samshayah nahi kartum arhasi. It is, you are not eligible. It is not possible for you to doubt regarding its bliss. Sarvaihi janaihi, sarvaihi pūrṇo. Everyone. Me? Okay, we'll come to that. Tvayapi pratibimbenābhāsānandena sukhamatratvam ātmanaḥ sushuptau utthitavata sukham śāśvato. Don't claim that. I didn't say that. Others said, okay, maybe, but it's not my experience. You cannot claim that. Why? Tvayapi pratibimbenābhāsānandena sukhamatratvam ātmanaḥ sushuptad utthitavata sukham śāśvato. Sushuptad utthitavata tvayapi, even by you, tvayapi, even by you. When you woke up from the deep sleep, sushuptad utthitavata, after you woke up from the deep sleep, sukham śāśvato iti ātmana sukhamuccāvacatvena anu pratibimbenābhāsānandena. You also said, I slept peacefully. I was in bliss. You said it yourself. That is a proof for the self to be of the nature of bliss. Anu pratibyan, you remembered it and you said after the waking. Anu, immediately following the waking, coming to the waking state. You said it yourself. No. I said it, but that is not the bliss of the self. What that? Actually, you have to understand there are two states. There is sorrow, there is bliss. Yes, I know. Very good. We are not talking about sorrow. Okay, good. But we are not talking about bliss also. Wait. You are not talking about sorrow. Yes, I understand. You are not talking about happiness also. Yes, I am not talking about happiness. And what was that in the deep sleep? You said, I slept peacefully, happily. Oh, that I'll come to. There is no sorrow, but that cannot be equated with happiness. There's absence of sorrow. That is what I said as happiness. What does that mean? Happiness is absence of sorrow. Happiness is not equal to happiness. Happiness is equal to absence of sorrow. Now you tell me. So this is the logician's logic. They say happiness means it's not happiness, it is absence of sorrow. Over now. Self is a absence of sorrow. There is no happiness there. Now, so he says, duḥkhaṃ bhava sukhamiti yaduktam purvadina anaghrato upanishada tat asaram rājasthānapraviṣṭānāṃ. I know you're talking from your knowledge of logic. I know that. Let me tell you. Duḥkhaṃ bhava sukhamiti yaduktam purvadina anaghrato upanishada tat asaram rājasthānapraviṣṭānāṃ. Anagrata Upanishada of the Upanishad. Agra, gra means to smell. Agra means smelling nicely, completely. Anagra, not having even a small smell of what? Upanishad. This fellow does not have even the smell of Upanishad. Like we say, oh, that fellow, he didn't even go to the shade of the school during the rains. When you are walking in the rain, when there is rain, you just go to some shelter, right? He didn't even take shelter in the school for rains. Meaning he is completely literate. So similarly, because you have not smelled the Upanishad, you are saying this. Who? Purvadina. By you, the logician, the opponent. By him, duḥkhaṃ bhava sukhamiti yadvachaha. Who says that absence of happiness is sorrow? That is because of that problem. He has not studied the Shastra. He does not even know that their Shastra exists. That what you said, what he says, tad asaram rusha. That has no essence, means there is no proof for what he says. Not just that, oh, maybe there is no proof, but I said truth, right? Some people claim this. Like this Hindenburg, there is this new company which just declares short selling company. They say, we don't know what truth is, what truth is not. Every company which is accused of by them, they say, no, we don't have any problem. They are cheating. So whoever says the lie, let us suppose. So they say they are talking without any proof, whichever side you are in. But there may not be proof. But what they say may be right? No. Mrisha, what they say have no proof, and there is that is lie also. You have to understand like that. Tadu asaram mrisha, that is without any proof, and that is a lie. Complete. There is no doubt about it. Why? Because absence of sorrow, I was talking about that. Absence of happiness is seen in stone also, inert objects also. The realized one is not inert like a stone. There is no experience of happiness, does not mean he is like a stone. So to answer that, he will say, Om pūrṇavadah pūrṇamidam pūrṇāt pūrṇamudachyate pūrṇasya pūrṇamādāya pūrṇamevāvaṣiṣyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.